like to tell you the story about four single guys that went downtown looking for a good time. It didn't take them long before they met two ladies, and I use the word ladies loosely, if you know what I mean, because it wasn't long before money was being discussed. Yeah, real money. And as you can see, I'm the holder of the money because the ladies, they work for me. But let's get back to the story. Four single guys out on the town looking for a good time. After meeting two ladies of the night and making arrangements at the hotel, the ladies patiently waited upstairs. Since there were four guys and only two ladies, the guys drew straws to see which two would have to wait downstairs in the lobby, while the other two ran upstairs and jumped into bed. Now the man holding the money, remember that's me, was also a magician, so I snapped my fingers and it turns out that the single guys somehow all ended up together in the two rooms upstairs. And the ladies were the ones sitting down in the lobby, downstairs. Yeah. So the four guys lost their money, the two ladies never had to work a day in their lives, and the magician, well, he was making money hand over fist. In closing, I'd like to say I hope you've enjoyed this magical mystery as much as I have enjoyed performing it just for you. Start with the two red queens, followed by the four jacks in alternating colors on top of the deck with jacks up on top. First, you display the jacks one at a time, very fairly. Square them up, place them on the table, display the two queens very fairly, placing them on the table also with the jacks. Then you turn the entire deck of playing cards, what's left of it, into money. This is what's happening. The four jacks are shown one at a time, very fairly, very cleanly, squared up, placed upon the table. Next, the two queens are turned over, shown very fairly, placed upon the table. Then the rest of the deck instantly becomes money right before their eyes. How this is accomplished, I'm going to show you a little bit later on how I have taken a gimmick, made a gimmick that turns the rest of the deck when you flip it forward into money. I'll teach you that a little bit later on. After the deck has been turned into money, you start the actual hotel mystery routine. You pick up the pile of cards counting the four jacks. The four jacks are counted off, placed underneath. Then you display the two queens, turn them face down, place the two queens face down in front of you. This is what happens during the counting process. The first jack is taken away, second jack taken away, third jack taken away. As you go back to take away the last jack, the jack of clubs, the three cards in the left hand that you've just counted off, those first three jacks, are going to be added underneath the cards in the right hand, as you see here. As the last jack is taken away, you're going to end up with only one card in your left hand instead of four that you should have there. So I try to keep my fingers of the left hand in front of that single card, but there is a little bit of misdirection as the right hand cards are being pulled away and turned face, the palm is turned face up, showing the back side, and then turn back face down. You're just sort of displaying the queens over here. And notice how the fingers of the left hand are in front of the jack of clubs, keeping that single card from being exposed too much. Well, the cards in the right hand are placed underneath the cards in the left hand, and then everything is turned over with palm down. This takes just a brief second. Basically, you're showing the jacks in one hand and the queens in the other. At this point, you're squaring up the cards, but as you do so, you're keeping a break on top of the single jack on the very bottom of the stack. Then the top queen is pushed forward, displaying the two queens. Then as you turn everything over, it's an entire stack of cards, looking as though you've only turned over the top two queens. And then the two queens are laid upon the table. Apparently the two queens, but actually they are the jacks. The 4 cards left in your hand are displayed, placed back together, and shown to be 2 jacks, 2 are placed aside, 2 more jacks, and those 2 jacks go on top of the parent queens. After the 4 cards left in your hand are sort of displayed and placed back together, emphasizing that these are still the jacks, the top card is taken away and both hands are turned face up and face down very quickly, very briefly to show 2 jacks. Then the top 2 cards in the left hand are being pushed over with your thumb, sort of as one card, as at the same time the single card in the right hand goes underneath the entire stack of cards in the left hand. The 2 cards that were pushed over are then taken away with the right hand. Those 2 cards are then placed upon the table. Then the last 2 cards are flashed as the other 2 jacks, and those are placed upon the 2 queens apparently upon the table. All you have to do now is snap your fingers and show that the 2 jacks are in one room, the other 2 jacks are in the other room, the queens are gone. The queens are sitting down in the lobby of the hotel, all the way over here. So the fingers are snapped, then you turn the cards over. They expect to see a queen and a jack there, but there's actually 2 jacks. There's 2 jacks over there. The queens are gone, and they're safely sitting down within the lobby of the hotel. Now let's learn how to make the gimmick that will change the deck of cards into a stack of money. To make the gimmick, you want to take 24 cards and cut both ends of 24 cards off, so you end up with 48 partial cards. The cutoff ends are actually 1 1/4 inch in length. You can use a cutter like I'm using here, or a pair of scissors, or an X-Acto knife. You then want to take those 48 segment of cards and using a glue stick, glue them together, as you see here. When all of the cards have been glued together, you end up with a block of cards like this. You then apply a little bit of glue to the top card and then fasten the whole card to the segment below. Next, what you want to do is strengthen that top card by gluing 2 more cards on top of it, making it 3 cards thick, because later on within the routine you're going to be folding the dollar bills around the edge of that top card, and now that it's 3 cards thick, it'll be a lot more sturdier than what it would be just being a single card. Now the top card is going to be 3 cards thick. This is what it looks like whenever you're done. Next, you want to take your dollar bill and trim it down on both sides. You can use a pair of scissors or a paper cutter like I'm using here. What you want to do is cut off about 1/2 of the border on each side of the dollar bill. That usually works out to where the dollar bill is going to be the exact width of a playing card, as you can see here. The exact width of a playing card. Next, you want to apply glue with your glue stick. Don't forget the edges of your gimmick and the face of the gimmick. Apply glue to all the areas that you see here, because then you need to take your dollar bill and press it down. You want to press it down upon the face. You want to be sure to align everything up very evenly. You then press the dollar bill down on the sides, like you see here. Press it down upon the sides, and then continue pressing it down until you get to the end of the playing card. After the dollar bill has been carefully aligned with the playing card and all the edges pressed down and secured as you see here, you're just about ready to add the other dollar bills to the effect. Now let's take a look at how you fold the dollar bills. $4 bills are folded like this. The first fold is to the center of the N of the 1, O-N-E, on the back of the dollar bill, to the center. Then you fold it one more time and it folds over to the center of the pyramid, or the I at the top of the pyramid. After you've done that, everything is rotated over back towards yourself onto the other gimmick. Let's take a look at the folding of the gimmick itself. First, you want to fold the dollar bill back to the edge of the playing card, so from the back it looks just like a playing card. Then you fold the dollar bill back one more time into a Z formation, as you see here. When you've done that, you fold the $4 bills over and over again, tip it backwards upon itself, and everything is ready to go into the card box. Keep in mind that the 2 queens and the 4 jacks are then placed on top of the fake deck of cards before they're placed into the box. Obviously, this gimmick was made for a blue back deck of cards, however the construction would be exactly the same no matter what kind of deck you're using. When you bring everything out of the box, it looks like this, but your hand is tipped towards yourself, and your hand also comes up towards the top as you rotate and twist the box downward, removing the box, setting that off to the side. You now want to cover the fact that you have 5 layers of dollar bills underneath. So you want to push forward, and that brings 4 layers of the dollar bills back towards yourself, with only one possibly showing, if any. Now with the fake deck in hand, you're ready to show the queens and the jacks from the top of the pack. However, keep in mind, this particular gimmick that I made was for a different trick, so you'll see aces coming off instead. So just ignore that. Just pretend that these would be the queens and the jacks being shown before the deck is flipped out and it becomes, of all things, a stack of money, which can be fanned out and displayed and then folded over and placed within your back pocket to continue on with the hotel mystery story.